Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Katie Weaver Show. This is Katie. I'm your host, and I'm so happy to be here. If you are listening live, it is the 30th of March at about 11 a.m. Pacific time. If you're listening to an archive or a replay, I also want to welcome you to the show. I hope you guys are having a good day. I hope that you're having a good week so far. So, we missed the full moon, which means we missed Fairy Tale Tarot, and we're just not going to have that. So we're going to do it today. I'm excited. I already have our cards pulled, and I have a fun new deck to show you. So we're going to have some fun today. I want to also let you know, though, that we're over in the chat room, and you can find it by heading over to 12radio.com. That's number 2 radio.com. Click on the chat button and you'll be redirected into the chat room. You'll see others chatting there. You'll see my banner at the top of the page. It is a private room, so if you've never joined before, you're going to want to ask for entry, just FYI. And also, I am live streaming this event from my Facebook page and YouTube channel, which are both Katie Weaver Domestic Mystic. So easy enough to find if you'd rather watch than listen. I do have several things to show you today, so you decide. So how's it going, guys? Everybody hanging in there? It's been kind of a roller coaster lately, energetically. I think, from anxiety to giddiness to utter exhaustion and fatigue. We've been all over the map this little while, and the full moon was pretty hard hitting in that aspect. So I'm curious to know how you guys are doing. I am well. I'm quite sunburned, so I don't know if you guys see. Hopefully, it's not so much. I'm peeling really bad along my hairline. My own fault. We went to Boise this weekend for Mars' softball tournament, and every year at this tournament we get fried because we haven't really had much for sun. We left home with snow on the ground, and we get there and it's, in the 60s and 70s, and it's gorgeous, and we don't even think about it. And every year the girls get burned, the parents get burned. And I had threatened Mars with her life. Do not let your team get burned the first day so that they struggle the second day. We've seen it happen so many times. And they were all really good and they wore sunblock, and I did not, and I got fried. So anyway, I'll be fine. I just need to, be wise. But my poor face. Stupid. Stupid and my own fault. Anyway, that's all. But I had a few show and tells for you. I've talked a little bit about it, but my poor cousins have had such a rough go lately. You have a lot of cousins. I'm sure I've told you guys that. I'm sure you've gathered that. I come from an enormous family, but cousins on both sides. We've had several deaths. And so I've been working on some memorial flowers for some of those and memorial pieces. So I wanted to share a couple of things. So I already posted them in the chat room so that you guys can see them. But if you're in the live stream, these are pendants. Try and get them at an angle you can really see them. There we go. They are full of gold flake and rose petals. These are for my cousin Paula. Her dad died here a few weeks ago. And yeah, those are hers. Aren't those pretty? Really, really pleased with the way those are turning out in the bezels, in the holder. They're really pretty. Anyway, it's those are for her. But these other little pieces I made, I wanted to share. I just finished them this morning and they are so sweet. So my dear cousin Courtney, my kids' age, and she got pregnant with twins a while back, and we were all so excited. We have a funny twin thing in our family. My dad's older brothers are twins, and those twins, they both have grandchildren that have had twins. And so there's just a lot of twins. My cousin Angie has 2 daughters, and both of those daughters have had sets of twins. It's so crazy. So thank God that I didn't get hit with the twin stick. But Courtney got pregnant with twins, and it was so exciting. Baby boy, baby girl. Last week, she went and got she was near 16 weeks, but not quite there, like 15 and a half weeks. Went and got the ultrasound where they, like the 3D one where you really see their little faces and stuff. And that night, she had a late term miscarriage and lost both of the babies. And it's just so freaking devastating. And it's so hard because it happened in Wyoming, and Wyoming state law is that they cannot transfer the remains to a funeral home for a burial unless you are at 16 weeks. She was literally like 15 and a half weeks. I don't understand this. Had I been there, I would have fought tooth and nail, but the poor thing, she was alone when this happened with her 1-year-old and went through had to have a DNC, went through it all by herself. I'm still so sick. My God, I would have gotten in the car had I known, but it just all happened really fast. And anyway, long story short, I wanted to make her something. So I messaged her and said, hey, has anybody sent you flowers that I could get a few flowers and make you a keepsake? No one had sent her flowers. So we remedied that. But I also just wanted to do something for her. And so I made her these. She said maybe a pendant or something she could hang from her wall. So I made her this pendant. Well, it's 2 pendants. So they're so cute. It's a heart that is a puzzle piece. So they fit together like a puzzle. So I have the blue one for baby boy, and then I have the pink one for baby girl. They have flowers and glitter in them. And if I back them up a little, that's easier to see. Kind of hard to see in the camera, sorry. Anyway, and then they have little angel charms hanging from them. Isn't that darling? And then they fit together as a heart. So I made those for her. And then for her fiance, I made him little heart keychains that are basically the same with the angel charm and the flowers and blue for the baby boy and pink for the baby girl. So anyway, I'm hoping to deliver those this week, but I wanted to share them with you guys because they turned out so sweet. So she has something, you know. Anyway, what a sad deal, huh? So like I said, my poor cousins have been through it. That is the 3rd, well, and 4th, the babies. So at any rate, pretty stuff to share. Not super fun stuff, unfortunately, but I always like to share my creations with you guys. So they're not, Mary asked if they're on my Etsy store. They're not, but I could make those and put them on my Etsy store, just not as memorials, I may just go ahead and do that. So anyway, that's all I'm up to. I'm with you, Sid. I've been so wiped out. I was down yesterday. Like, I didn't get showered and dressed until 5:30 yesterday, and that's just because I had somewhere to be. And so I know. Scott told me my nightgown had turned into a day gown because I wore it all day. What does he know about a nightgown or a day gown? I'll take it. Anyway, I don't know. That trip to Boise kind of wiped me out too, but I just felt like I was on a major full moon hangover and just needed a lot of rest. I actually got in my bed for like 3 hours yesterday afternoon. I don't ever do that, but I needed it. Moreover, the dogs needed it. They needed somebody to cuddle with them. They were cranky and clingy. So what do? As a good dog mom, you get in bed, right? That's all I know. That's all I could do. Anyway, yes, Mary said she also loves the day gowns, right? When I was a kid, my Aunt Julia, she always wore a nightgown when she was at home. The only time she wore street clothes is when she left the house. And if she got home, like when she got home from work at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, she was immediately back in her nightgown. And if she had to go back into town, she'd get dressed again. But she told me, I don't like being uncomfortable. I like my nightgown. She was not, in bed. She was cooking and cleaning and gardening and doing all of her normal stuff. But she's just not willing to be uncomfortable in clothes, for God's sake. She's going to wear her day gown. I think it's actually just such a great example. When I was a kid, my grandma wore what she called a house coat. Do you guys remember house coats? It was like a thing you wore over your nightgown, not a robe though. It was more like a little bit nicer fabric and you wore it over top of your nightgown. I don't know, to be more modest maybe or something. But when I was a kid, my grandma had her house coat on all the time. That's what you did. So now I'm like, I've got my day gown down. Maybe now I need a house coat. Got to go to Walmart, see what's up. Anyway, I don't know how we got on that topic, but I also had a grandma that wore an apron. Always. Every time you went to her house, she had an apron and she had these enormous boobs. And she'd have her apron tied up underneath the big boobs, right? And it had pockets and it was came down about to her knees. And she always had pockets full of stuff in that apron. And she always had an apron on. I don't know. Sarah says her grandma still wears a house coat. My God, we got to go to Amazon. How do we get hooked up with house coats? Mary said her mom always had fancy house coats. Okay. Yep. Now I want a house coat. Scott will never, ever stop teasing me for this. Ever. That's too bad. All righty. Yeah, I can remember my grandma out gardening in her house coat, was how she kept her nice clothes nice, I would imagine, actually. But I don't know. Yeah, aprons, huh, Jane? Yeah. Yep. My one grandma, great grandma, always had an apron on. And she was always making bread or something and always had piles of stuff in those pockets. Or you'd see her out gardening and the pockets would be stuffed with like seeds and scissors and, gardening tools. And or she'd be in the kitchen and the pockets would be stuffed with other things. In hindsight, I really wonder how many germs those aprons carried because they were just used for, you know, everything. Jane thought about a house coat for pet sitting attire. That's actually a super good idea, right? Because it would keep your clothes clean. And yeah, I mean, you could have a lab coat for the same reason. Lab coats and house coats are the same damn thing. They just look different. I just figured it out. So you could wear a house coat and call it your lab coat if you're cooking, you're in the kitchen. All right, that's it. I'm getting this. Yep. Sid said she always thought a house coat was worn all day instead of a nightie. Same loose fit, but buttoned up at the front. She said she always wears an apron when she's at home because she hates to get her clothes dirty. Huh. I have some things to learn, ladies. Moonbeam says she just stays in pajamas. Me too. Yeah. It's all right. It's cool, right? Isn't that what COVID did to a lot of us? I mean, I can't really say that because I've been working from home for years. But I know a lot of people kind of got into that jam of, business on the top and jammies on the bottom. But I am unwilling to be uncomfortable. With RA, you're kind of in a daily fight with your body. I can't fight clothes too. I don't have the energy for it. And I don't want to. I can remember when I was younger wearing pants that were tight, and squirming around in them all day, sitting in desks at school, being miserable, wearing shoes that really hurt, but they were cute. Oh, God, no. No, no, no. And now you just hope the Crocs has a new cute design every spring. Oh, you guys. I don't know why we got on this topic, but I don't hate it. Thank you, however, for all of the love sent to Courtney. You guys are the best. She definitely has needed it. It's a it's such a weird thing. I mean, it's such a weird empty thing and I I have not had a miscarriage and so I can't speak to what that feels like except for going through that with my clients and knowing how what a surreal experience it is for people to go from having something in your womb to not, from having clothes bought and ultrasound pictures and just all of the everything, of course, not those are minor, but all of the things along with it, along with all of, you know, the excitement and the anticipation, just to have that just stripped away in a moment and just be done. It's just, I don't know. I don't know how it feels. I can't empathize. I can only sympathize, and it makes me sick too. So I appreciate the love. You guys are the best. Sorry for this bipolar conversation. We're all over the place. Well, let's let's take a look at Luminous and we'll move on from there. So I'm going to put a link in the chat room, but if you would like to, you can view Luminous Magazine if you haven't already received it today over on my website at katie-weaver.com. Jane's laughing at my Crocs. I know. You want to know what I discovered about Crocs this year, Jane? Now that we're getting into it, the children's six, the biggest children's size, is big, and I can wear them. This is how cheap and ridiculous I am. The children's size are $29.99 and the adult size are $44.99. And the adult size that I wear and the children's size 6 are the exact same size. That's right. So now I can buy the super cute designs. I bought these cute rainbow tie-dyed ones the other day. And now I'm on the hunt for the cloud ones. They have some really cute ones this spring that are like baby blue with clouds all over them. And I got to have them. So I'm watching for my size somewhere. Anyway, yep. I'm all about that Crocs life. I fought Crocs for years. I was not going to go down the Crocs route. My sisters kept telling me, you have got to get some Crocs because my feet are such jerks. And I finally, Christy bought me Crocs for my birthday because she wanted me to see how truly awesome they are on arthritic feet. And oh my God, I've never looked back. I wore Crocs all winter with socks. I'm also that guy, Crocs in socks in the snow. Yes, Jane, go get kids Crocs. You guys will be amazed. They literally fit the same. They're as wide, they're as comfy, and they're cuter. See, Sarah, I should have bought some winter Crocs, but I didn't. I just kept putting socks on. The truth is, I don't go outside that much. I'm definitely not going sledding or something where you'd need true ass shoes. So, oh, Lord. All right. I put a link up for Luminous. So let's go take a look. Let's see. Sorry. Just taking a quick look at the chat room. Pamela said all her heels left in a garbage bag. Never more. Oh, hell yes. Absolutely not. I used to love flip-flops. I lived in flip-flops, even in the winter. Loved them. And they ruined me. I can't wear them anymore. I'm just in so much pain when I wear them. Anyway, Crocs it is. Okay. I called Luminous this week the Helping and Healing Edition because, well, years ago, I studied for several years with a grandmother from Turtle Island named Bright Owl. You guys, I've talked to you a little before about the goddess ceremonies I trained to do under her for years and years. And she's moved away now, but we still keep in contact on Facebook. But at any rate, she always said she knew from the time she was little, she was born to be a healer and a helper. And that was a phrase she used a lot. Well, you're meant to do healing and helping, and that phrase always just stuck with me. Some of us are born to be healing and helping. And so she went into nursing. She was born into a Christian religious family, and that healing and helping call was always there. So she went into nursing and nursed for a million years, but also, then started really discovering her spiritual gifts and went that direction as well. But that phrase, healing and helping, or that you were born into healing and helping, has always really stuck with me because I believe that to be true of myself. But the more I have considered that phrase over the years, the more I've realized that that's actually true of nearly all of us. We are born into healing and helping in some way. It is kind of our, I want to say birthright, but maybe our birth responsibility too. So the themes this week seem to be about allowing your old wounds to heal, allowing some healing in yourself, and helping others to heal as well on their path. So here we are. It's a healing and helping week. In my musings, I posted 3 videos that cracked me up. You guys know I love stand-up comedy. I listen to comedy literally on the daily. And I think that in a week like this, that is a little bit heavy, and we've been quite introverted, it gets a little heavy for me. So I shared a few clips that I thought were very funny. Jim Gaffigan, who I think Jim is hysterical. I don't think he'll ever make me laugh more than his bit about seafood and bug meat. But anyway, and then this is not that clip. I thought this was great too, though. Kathleen Madigan. If you guys have never listened to Kathleen Madigan, I adore her. And then the last girl I posted, oh, her name didn't come up. It is, oh, hell. I'll have to think about it. She is so funny. She's a comedian out of Canada, and I adore her. She is so funny. She's really heavy, and I love that about her because she could laugh about and joke about, being fat. Deborah Giovanni is her name. She is so funny. If you guys are looking for a new comedian, look her up. Deborah Giovanni. She had a Netflix special a few years ago that absolutely killed me, and I've been tracking her ever since. So, anyway, just some laughter from me this week. And then we have from the Desk of Bitch, from Miss Kelly, we have Bitch Scopes. So she, brings us an overview of the week. She says, for today, Venus sextile Saturn, love and relationships take on a more serious, responsible tone. Yikes. Is this when the hard talks are going to happen? Maybe. So let's take a look at Aries scope this week since it is their birthday. Touch in with friends this week. In doing so, you may find that someone is struggling with their identity, or you may say something that triggers them because they are having a hard time fitting into some box they think they need to fit into. But before you fly into advice mode, think before you speak and be extra compassionate. Most of the zodiac are feeling soft and squishy, and your straightforward approach might inadvertently hurt someone. Take care of boring, mundane tasks as soon as possible, or they are going to fall off your list and then you'll be mad at yourself. There you go, Aries. You know what to do. And be careful to be nice because us little cancers are going to get our feelings hurt. Let's take a look at one more. How about Libra? A friend or someone you work with could be in a mood that is making you want to burn a bridge. We both know you can't even light a match to burn a bridge. But before you do or say something too harsh, consider the fact that the person is speaking out of a wounded place. You don't have to take their shit, but you don't have to fire them as a friend either. You are highly thought of, and it will show in the coming weeks. Oh, that's actually really sweet. So, Libra, just cool your jets. If you want to read your scope, come over here or head over to 12listen.com, and they're posted in our scopes there as well. But definitely check out your bitch scope for the week. They are always balanced and easy to read and awesome. All right, in the tip this week from me, I've shared my spring sinus blend. I'm noticing already Scott is acting like he's having a few allergies, and I'm hearing that from other people too. So this is the tried and true sinus blend. So in a 10 ml roller bottle, combine 3 drops each, not more, of lavender, lemon, and peppermint essential oils. Top it off with liquid coconut oil or almond oil or apricot seed oil or, whatever carrier oil that you love. And then, shake it up. And every time you go to use it, you kind of have to blend it up again. But you can use that to just rub it under your nose, kind of down the sides of your sinuses. That is the best sinus blend that I know of with essential oils. So if you have allergies and sinusy stuff in the spring, I highly recommend that you give that one a shot. It's a super good one. Okay. back to, I jumped out of Luminous and got sidetracked in the chat room. Okay. And Caroline's column this week is her own journey with toxins. And then, of course, lots of our other regular stuff there. So I won't go through all of it, but definitely take a look. Lots of good things happening here. I did want to talk to you a little bit about what I have going on over at YouTube. You guys know that I have a channel and podcast with my sister Christy. We have we do true crime paranormal with the Psychic Sisters. And this is absolutely one of our favorite topics. And I hope that you guys are enjoying it if you're into it. I know that not everybody likes true crime. I know some of you are just, it hurts, it's too much for you. I get it. I really do. I'm fascinated by it, and we cover a lot of it. So we have 2 new cases so far this week. We covered Shakaya Blue, which is an MMIW case, a missing and murdered Indigenous woman case. And then today our case broke on Paul Ezra Rhodes. Paul Ezra Rhodes was a serial killer out of Idaho that was executed in Idaho in 2011. And his case is super interesting. So that's what we have so far this week. And then tomorrow, our case that is coming out is the disappearance of Father John Kerrigan. He was a priest that disappeared in Montana in 1984. And it's another very interesting case. So that's what we have this week at True Crime Paranormal. But some of you guys take Spirit School from us over there too. So we have Spirit School, which is a subscription to our channel. And with that, you get a live guided meditation with one of us every month and 2 live classes. So as soon as this show is over, I'm going to hop over there and teach an episode of Spirit School. We're doing Intro to Animal Communication this month. So if you're interested in that, you just got to go over to our channel and just get a membership. It's like $14.99 a month. It's not much. And you get a bunch of extra content from us that you wouldn't otherwise have. It's the only way to take classes from the Psychic Sisters currently. So that's what's up over there. And I think that's all I've got on Luminous today. So you guys, I'm sure you'll look through it and find the gems that jump out for you. All righty. I'm going to jump into the chat room here really quick. See if there's anything I need to know. Sid, this does not surprise me. You are itty bitty. She said, I never thought I would say this, but my favorite clothes are from Walmart, especially the kids department. They have the cutest designs and colors. I know. They do. And you can rock that because you're teeny tiny. I actually think that is super fun. Okay. Yes. Oh, Lillian pointed out moo-moos. Yep, that's true. That's all we need is to buy moo-moos. I can do that. If I show up here on this channel in a moo-moo, you'll know. Well, you can blame Lillian. Or Sid. Who said that? Oh, it was Lillian. Yeah. Yep. All righty. Oh, Sid wants to know, does your skin react to the sun, to the lemon oil? It could. Lemon is photoreactive. That is a tiny bit that is really diluted and so unlikely, but not everybody's skin is the same, right? And some people are photosensitive to citrus oils and some people aren't. Being photosensitive means that putting essential oils on your skin can and getting in the sun can cause a rash. So it's a good thing to know about yourself, Sid, for sure. I kind of doubt you would have a problem with this one only because it is so diluted. But it's good to know. I am not photosensitive. It's not a problem for me, but my mom was. Ooh, bad. Yep. Okay. On Spirit School, Pamela, yes, the classes are recorded and they're not always the same every month. There's 2 on Sunday mornings and 1 on Tuesday afternoon, and they're not always at exactly the same time. Yeah. So, but they are recorded and you can go back and watch them anytime. They are a Facebook Live that is private just to the people who subscribe to Spirit School. So you literally, you just, if you subscribe to it, you just come straight to YouTube and just watch it or come back and watch it later. Yeah, it's actually super, super easy. Yeah. Okay. All righty. Well, I think that it's probably time for us to take a look at Fairy Tale Tarot. So we missed the full moon by 2 days. We should have done this last week. Forgot. So I wasn't paying attention to the full moon. I should have been. Things got weird. Boy, I've had nervous dogs. My poor little Rico, my little Chihuahua. Well, one of my little Chihuahuas. He's been a mess. This full moon energy's been a lot for him. So per normal here on the Katie Weaver Show, around the full moon, we always pull a card from the Fairy Tale Tarot deck and we read the story and interpret it as a general reading for the full moon cycle. So I already pulled the card. It is the Two of Swords. I'll show it to you guys. It's a bit of a glare. There we go. Basically, it looks like there's a woman with a sword and there's a man with a sword. The woman is like all ice. She's blue. It looks like there's kind of ice and cold things around her. The man is fire. He has a sword. There's a lot of red around him. There's flames around him. It's kind of the polarities. It's the meeting of ice and cold. And then there's kind of a explosion of light happening between them. So that's what the card looks like. And there's probably more symbology on here than I'm picking up on. There always is. I try to catch it all, but I never do. So let's read the story. All right. The story is The Snow Daughter and Fire Son. This is a Russian fairy tale. The key words are opposing forces and stalemate. So again, as I read this, think about how this applies to us for the next 2 weeks. When we're done, I will interpret it, and I'm always open for you guys' interpretations too. And we are always on the lookout for weird stuff in these stories because we find a lot of it. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a couple who wished for children. Their sadness echoed the bleak coldness as they stood outside on their front porch. The wife said, "I wish I could have as many children as there are icicles forming around our home." Just then, an icicle broke and fell into the woman's mouth. This seems dangerous. Now all I can think of is that movie, The Christmas Story. Okay. Not long after, she gave birth to a little girl. The little girl was no ordinary child, but one obsessed with the cold. She was as white as fleece and as frosty as freshly fallen snow. She was not an easy child to bring up, given her need for constant frigid temperatures. One day the couple sat by the hearth to warm themselves while their snow daughter was dancing outside in a snowstorm. "Oh, how I wish we could have a son who would enjoy the warmth," the woman said wistfully. With that, a spark flew through the air and landed on the wife's lap. Better than in her mouth. Not long after, she gave birth to a little boy. Unlike the snow daughter, the son preferred the heat. The fire son, as he was called, relished the warm days of summer and never drifted far from the fireplace in the winter. If his sister came near him, her cold would bite, causing him to cry. After the children had grown, they decided to venture out into the world together. "But how can we travel side by side as snow and fire?" asked the brother. "We shall wear protective fur coats so as to not melt or burn each other," answered the snow daughter. Clutching their coats, they journeyed to an expansive forest and decided to stay until spring. Fire Sun built himself a makeshift shelter for warmth, while Snow Daughter flung herself into the flurries and danced upon the snowdrifts. While they were occupied, the king of the land happened by. He was out on a hunt when he spotted the lovely Snow Daughter whirling in the icy trees. He introduced himself and soon learned that she shunned the warmth and had a brother who despised the cold. The king was enchanted by her loveliness and asked her to marry him. Of course he did. We had to have this, right? Not long after, a big wedding took place, followed by a reception. Afterwards, the happy couple retreated to a stone castle, cold enough for the new queen's comfort. The brother was given a home heated by large ovens built on every corner. The immense heat made the fire sun grow hotter and more powerful with every breath. The king held a feast and invited his brother in law, the fire sun, to join the festivities. But his body temperature had risen to a lethal point, melting the door of the banquet hall as he entered. The attending guests screamed and fled the premises. The king was furious that his party had been spoiled by the conflagration that was his wife's brother. "You've brought nothing but trouble to my kingdom," he blurted out. The fire son remained calm and merely chuckled at the affront. "Brother in law, I told you, as my sister's husband and king in the highest esteem, let us embrace and part ways." And before the king knew what was happening, the fire son wrapped his flame covered arms around him. The king screamed before being consumed by the scorching heat. The snow daughter ran to her suffering husband, but she was too late. All that stood beneath his crown was a pile of ashes. Snow Daughter hurled herself at Fire Sun, and a great battle ensued. But there was no victor, for the Snow Daughter succumbed to the heat and melted into a puddle, and the Fire Sun was extinguished by the cold and crashed into an undistinguishable heap of ice. We tell kids these stories at bedtime? My God! All right, symbols and meaning. The coldness of the blue sword and the fiery burning of the red sword are incongruous and perpetuate stagnation. The Snow Daughter is decorated in crystals, snowflakes, and other facets of her cold, unflexible nature. The fire sun boasts forceful flames driven by an untamed ego. The lightning bolts and sparks exemplify intense anger and an irrational state. An orb of light separates the two in an attempt to balance the opposing energies. So here's what the author has to say. You may encounter opposition that will require you to proceed with diplomatic reasoning. In order to maintain balance between differing points of view, it is sometimes essential to let go of the ego and allow ideas to flow forth. If you do this, you may be able to defray conflict and create an atmosphere of harmony. So there you go. Okay, so what does it all mean? How does this apply to us for this full moon cycle? Well, obviously, we're going to see some polarities. We've had some pretty bipolar energy, right? Lots of ups and downs, big shifts and swings. I would say that it looks like we're definitely going to experience more of that we need to be aware of. So I feel like this next 2 weeks, we need to really vow to be a little careful, to think before we speak, to be careful about getting too emotional, getting too outspoken, just giving ourselves a chance to breathe without reacting too quickly. I think that knee-jerk reactions this next cycle would be a mistake. I suspect that we'll see some communication errors as you think you understand what someone means through a text or a message that you may not understand. So let's be very careful to ask questions, to clarify, to assume nothing, because I feel like that might be the thing that gets us into trouble. So knowing that's the case, I think this next little period, it's going to be really important for us to, again, move slow, refuse to get too triggered. I think that the four agreements might be our best bet moving forward for the next couple of weeks, to take nothing personally, to speak with integrity, to be honest, and to, be careful that we don't take too much home with us, right? From work or what's, you know, the affronts that could be coming. So that's what I think. I am always interested to know what you guys think about that. I suspect that a lot of this will be happening in the workplace. Yep. I suspect we're going to see lots of weird clashes and weirdness happening in the workplace. We'll see. So, especially you guys that have jobs, that have some chaotic people, we're going to expect to see some acting up. Alrighty. Well, that is it for Fairy Tale Tarot. So let's move on. All right. Someone asked, what is more freaky, true crime paranormal or fairy tale tarot? Good question, Chris. Good question. Sometimes a little bit of both. It is true crime, however. We recorded an episode last night for our Patreon. So Patreon is this really nifty program that you can join to give people a way to donate a little money to help keep your work going. And in return, they get some extra episodes every month. And last night we recorded an episode about execution. Oof, that's quite the topic. And some executions that went wrong. And it was so sobering. Now, we were looking for very specific stories, and the episode itself is not that heavy. But man, did I read some stuff. Oh, we're terrible. Humans are the worst. And public executions have been happening for time immemorial. I mean, now we have rules about rights of, and how to do things in the most humane way possible. And I mean, quite honestly, not everybody agrees with that, that we don't have to fight on this channel about the death penalty. But, it's a really loaded topic. So sometimes, yikes. Christy and I both kind of felt like we'd been hit in the face last night recording that one. And the stories we didn't share, actually, more than the ones we did. But at any rate, Sid said she thinks the king was the unreasonable one. He set up the whole confrontation, being upset about the party and having his door ruined. Agreed. He didn't need to fly off the handle like that. He is the one that set the whole thing off without a doubt. Now, the question is, did the brother know that a hug from him would incinerate the king? And he did it anyway because he was just being a jerk? Or did he not know and he was truly trying to make peace? That's what we don't know. All right. I wanted to read for you guys today. We got a new deck of cards in the mail yesterday. The Amazon man came and brought these. This is the Whisper of Healing deck from Angela Hartfield. This is her newest deck that's available. She has another new deck coming out in May that you can go over to Amazon and pre-order. It is a gratitude deck, but the Whispers of Healing deck is new as well. It's another Josephine Wall and Angela Hartfield deck, and it is phenomenal. So I thought it would be fun to read with these cards today. As always, they do beautiful work together. And Josephine Wall, my God, she's a gifted artist. I could just fill my house with nothing but Josephine Wall art. Seriously. So I thought I would just do one card readings from Angie's deck today for fun. And as always, we're sending Angie all of our love and all of our best. So if you guys would like a reading from this deck, just throw something up for me in the chat room. I don't know that we'll get to everybody. I'm just going to do one card so that we can get through plenty. Because mostly I wanted to show you guys how cool this deck is. It is gorgeous. I had to wrestle it away from Scott. You know how it is. He's like that. He covets stuff. He accuses me of never giving things back. His office and my office are adjacent. It's in the next room. I mean, isn't that close enough? Apparently, no. So the back of these cards is watercolor art. Really pretty. Anyway, alrighty. So let me jump in the chat room here quickly. And I can see both chats. So if you are in a live stream or if you are here in the 1-2 Radio chat room, I should be able to see you either way. Okay. Said I do still make orgonite. I actually made some orgonite that came out of the molds this morning. I was going to share it with you guys and I forgot. I drug all this other stuff up here instead. Okay. Sorry, you guys. Sometimes the chat room is not super good radio. But okay. All right, Julia. So Julia said, been so long since I could coincide with you. It is very nice to see you here, my friend. She said, if you have time, please may I have a scan? Feeling really out of sorts. You can, and let's pull you a card too. Sid said she thinks in Saudi Arabia, public executions, beheadings are still a part of the culture. They are in quite a few Middle Eastern countries, but public executions are still a part of the culture in the United States as well. I mean, they're not held in a public square, but there are lots of laws and requirements on them being open to the media. And actually, in a lot of states, there is a certain amount of media that has to be there. Yeah. All right, Julia. The card is the forward movement card. Let me see. There's always a bit of a glare with my ring lights. Let me make sure you can see it. There we go. Yep. The forward movement card. It's a little fairy. Looks like she's sitting in a flower and she's being pulled along by a bunch of butterflies because, of course, she is, which is interesting because you're feeling a little off. And I think maybe that's because you're feeling a little stagnant. So that's what we need to do is break you loose so that forward movement is possible. So, Julia, I'm just going to tune into you. Your energy body is moving so slow. I'm going to make a little adjustment here in your root, and then I'm going to just speed you up. All right. So I'm just going to move all the way up here from your sacral and solar plexus up to your heart. Ooh, pretty good size shift there in your heart. Some of that's not yours. A lot of that is not yours. So let's pull that out of there. All right. Opening up that throat. Up to your third eye. You've got a lot of tension in your jaw too. Okay. And then we'll balance up that crown. Pull it down. It was too big. All right, now I'm just going to double check my work. I want to make sure that everything is really going quick. You usually have a pretty fast frequency, and to not be having that and feeling that is probably super uncomfortable. All right, let's clear your aura too while we're at it. That's pretty heavy as well. You're just kind of slimed, weighed down by a lot of other people's stuff and some of your own. But all right, Julia, that was a quick bit, but that really should help you feel quite a lot better. All righty. So that should be the catalyst, I think, to break you open, right? To move you forward. Feeling a little stuck. Okay. All right, Maureen. Okay, let me get one out. All right, Maureen, the card is acceptance. It is this lovely little fairy. She also is riding, she's in the ocean. It looks to me like she's riding a dolphin, maybe. And they're being guided along with the full moon, and there's waves. And isn't that beautiful? Yeah. Here's where I think it's at for you, Maureen. It's not acceptance of your situation because I know you're working on changing it. It's more acceptance of yourself. This last year or two, as you've been working on making some changes in your own life and your own situation, you have had moments of, I think, kind of getting cut down, not really feeling like you're valued in lots of situations at home and at work and in interviewing. And I feel like this card is a good one to help push you forward in accepting yourself and recognizing what a catch you are in every way. You are a great mom. You're an amazing wife and you are an excellent employee. And any employer should be very, very lucky to have you. I think we need to get that chip back up on your shoulder, right? Remind you of that. Okay. All right, Sharon. All right. You can tell these cards are new. They are very sticky. Okay. Ooh, Sharon, this is a gorgeous card. It's the replenish card. She's actually in a bed. I don't know if you can see that, but she's in a bed. And there are kind of down around the blankets and the sheets and covers, there are all of these little figures, kind of like her dreams. And I think, Sharon, for you, it is exactly the way it reads replenish. Make sure that you are doing things that replenish you, whether that is rest, or that is meditation, or that is eating good food, drinking plenty of water. Really think about what your body needs to replenish itself. I feel like that's really important for you to consider right now. Oh, Sarah, thank you so much for putting this up here. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss it. Sarah says, if there's time, my daughter has been seeing a dark figure in our house for a few months. She said she feels it is a man and he never enters her room, but she feels him watching her. Can you tell me how to possibly help her to feel better and tell me who it is and what they want? Yeah, we have to do this. We can't keep putting this one off. All right, Sarah, I'm going to tune into her through you. Okay. I know he looks dark because that's how he looks. He's not evil or like dark per se, right? But he doesn't need to be there. Sarah, he's attached to her spirit, not a dark entity attachment. Don't get me wrong. This is a spirit, it's a human spirit that is attached to her soul. And I feel like he's just actually keeping an eye on her, but he's kind of creepy. He's letting her see him. That shouldn't be happening. There is a soul connection to this spirit though, that he knows her. He loves her. But he really shouldn't just be showing himself and being chasing, following her around like this. I'm going to ask him to stop. I feel like this is just not appropriate, especially at her age, and that he needs to let her have her life experience. He needs to go. So he was supposed to be a part of her life experience. He was not born. He was supposed to be born, and he wasn't. It's not going to happen in this lifetime, but he'll always keep an eye on her to some degree. But at this point, it's just kind of creepy. So, yep, I'm asking him to go and to trust her process to have her life experience and to let her angels and guides do their jobs. Okay. Sarah, I feel like he's leaving. I feel like he's getting the point that it's not okay. It's not appropriate. It's actually kind of weird. He just loves her and he's really worried, not for good reason. That's not a prophecy that something bad's going to happen. It's not. It's just he wants to be connected to her. All right. He's going to go. He's going to quit lurking and creeping her out. Okay, good. All right. So that is done. So good news. Good news. It's not a super weird thing. Kind of is, but not a bad thing. All righty, you guys. We've done what we do. We've talked down to the end of the show, and I got to get over to spirit school. So thank you so much for being here. You have been listening to and or watching the Katie Weaver Show here on 1-2 Radio, where we're changing